Welcome to RoboFeel.com. I'm your host Philip English, and we're here today with the President and CEO of InnoEco, Catherine Simon. She is the founder of Europe's only international event 100% dedicated to robotics and disruptive innovations, Innorobo. Created in 2011, InnoEco is an impact consultancy firm focused on business development through innovation and expertise in worldwide robotics markets. InnoEco drives a community of over 3,500 robotic companies worldwide with nearly 10,000 leaders and decision makers who see robotic technologies, products and services and opportunities for technology-fueled growth. Innorobo is Europe's only summit dedicated to innovations in robotics, a unique forum where decision makers and international experts discuss their visions. Its mission is to present the world of robotics through an exhibition that provides a vast array of robotic technologies, conferences with renowned specialists and a host of workshops in order to encourage cross-innovation and open up new opportunities for growth and diversification in nearly all sectors. We'll be speaking to Catherine today about Innorobo, the event that attracts and exhibitors and visitors from around the world from 40 plus countries, as well as how she set it all up and the future plans. Right, welcome Catherine. Many thanks for joining us on the show today. It's very much appreciated. So what we'll do, start with some of the basic questions to start with. So could you quickly introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
All right, so I'm a consultant in organization and strategy. I'm a trained consultant, and as well I'm a coach, and I've been looking into disruptive technologies and how they can change our world and society at large in the past 8 years, and namely on the robotics side. So I put up together a show called Innorobo that I intends to accelerate the global robotics ecosystem to have those great technologies help us build a sustainable humanity in the future.
Brilliant. Thanks for the intro. So you're saying Innorobo's been running for 8 years now, is that right?
No, I've been interested in robotics for 8 years, but Innorobo will be a 6th edition in Paris in May, and we've already had past 5 editions and growing.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, so I've been to the one in Lyon, so this will be the first one I've been over to there in Paris. I mean, does it change location every year?
No, so the first 5 years were Lyon, and then we felt that we had to move to, gain this sort of stability of being the national first reference in robotics, then the international reference in robotics, and France, sorry, is still a bit centralized in Paris, and Paris is a very attractive city in May, so we thought we had to move.
Perfect timing. Yeah. So is it going to stay in Paris now, or is it still going to?
Well, we're trying to figure out actually how to make a world tour of Europe with Innorobo, because we think we have to be near the local and national ecosystem of Europe to really become the reference in Europe. It's not that easy. I'm a very small firm. We're only 4 persons, and so we're trying to figure it out. Maybe it's like every 5 years we change location, or I don't know yet. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, like, you run like a brilliant show for such a small team. So yeah, I mean, that's quite impressive actually. So I suppose the idea, like, maybe some more countries, like, do you reckon that maybe like the UK would be in there, like eventually, or was it?
We had lots of discussion with London and the catapult system and UKTI, and you have this great campaign in the UK, like UK technology is great actually, so your great campaign, and I hope one day, yes, we can end up in London or Bristol. Bristol is fairly good with a robotics cluster, and Manchester as well is fairly developed into new technologies.
Yes, is it. So I know Bristol's got Bristol like robotics labs. So yeah, it makes sense to do it over there. But yeah, I mean, like, it'd be great to see like in the future, because I know, so obviously folks in the UK we always have to sort of go over to Europe or go further afield to see these shows. So yeah, it'd be brilliant to have it like in the UK one day.
So we're trying to find partners that would help us, national or local partners that would help us. And, I don't think Europe is really set yet to have multiple national shows. I think the best is like, you have one big show that is the reference. And so Germany obviously has several shows, but they are very different. So trying to find our own style geared on innovation, startups, helping startups, and having entrepreneurs, visionary people meet and discuss a vision of society with new technologies, which I think is important to discuss before we do it.
Definitely. So you get the interaction, you get the networking, and then you get other projects sort of spawning off from there. So yeah, no, it's a brilliant show. So could you just give us a run through of what to expect at Innorobo this year? Because I know that we've got some extra things this year. I think we got a bit of 3D printing in the show this year, and obviously you've got your Innorobo keynote speeches, and then the exhibition as well.
Right. So this year we're trying to actually have 3 events in one event, even 4. So you have the National General Assembly. So the French Ministry of Economy is trying to gather the French ecosystem to talk about robotics and the excellence, but as well as the challenges of France in robotics. Then you have Innorobo keynotes. This year we're trying to make them more geared towards director of innovation, CEOs, decision makers, so that big corporation, whether French or international, go out of just doing market watch on robotics, but go into active plan of action in the mid to long term to enter into the robotic dynamics. And so we somewhat get the director of innovation out of the show for one day, so out the exhibition for one day, so that they can discuss together and learn much quicker and more in depth about how they can get robotics into it. And we have Inside 3D Printing event, which is in collaboration with Rising Media, a German media firm, and it's a co-production that we do with that firm, and it's an event that is a reference in the US currently, but that is touring the world in the 3D printing. So I'm trying to gain knowledge of the 3D printing ecosystem with their help, and it's going to be a very small show to start with in Paris, but it's encouraging, and there are links between 3D print and robotics, obviously. First, it's a disruptive technology potentially, even if it's not yet thought by experts to become, everybody will not have right now, right there, a personal 3D printer at home. At least that's what experts say.
Yeah.
But we can do rapid prototyping. We can manufacture with the additive manufacturing in metal or in plastic. We can manufacture pieces of planes, for instance, or of different type of equipment, which much more lightweight, much more complex shape. And I can see that 3D printing is set to become also a general purpose technology, because I can see in the medical area, it already transformed dentists.
Yep.
Prostheses potentially for rehabilitation or surgery purposes. Food is actually a very interesting new set, and even fashion. And France, we like luxury and fashion. So Chanel, I know, for instance, is working on with 3D printers, and we've seen great designers looking into 3D print. So for me, it's a world of innovation as well, and it's a potential general purpose technology, rather disruptive.
Yeah, well, this is it. I mean, there's a few companies I know already in the UK. One of them being Open Bionics, and they basically deal with prosthetic hands. So they 3D print the prosthetic hands, and then obviously they put all the robotics components inside. And I was speaking to like one of the owners down there, and she was saying like it's brought the cost down from like tens of thousands of pounds for one of these arms, like down to basically a few £1,000s.
Right, and now it makes it accessible to more people, where robotics or biomechatronics prostheses currently are very expensive, so not accessible to everyone. And you have actually a video, I don't know the reference anymore, but you have a video on YouTube that shows one handicapped person that has been equipped with, high-end biomechatronic legs, and the other one with like low-end biomechatronics. And they don't go downstairs the same way. So I think 3D printing might actually level that to everybody that has a impediment or a handicap should have access to great technology and great prostheses to reduce that handicap. So.
Well, this is it. I think there's a perfect merge there as well. So like a perfect cross. So I'll basically be looking very forward to seeing the 3D part of the show in May as well. So looking forward to that. So like the next quick question I had. So I know Innorobo split into a few different sections. So we have smart cities, smart home, medical and health, smart factory, and let me just get my notes. Field robotics, and
then technology and foresight, because like it's everything that. So we currently have tried to set up a taxonomy, we call it, to because it's a general purpose technology, it really goes all over the place, robotics. So, but if we want the big corporations to come, if we want the director of innovation to identify themselves into robotics, we need to split it into fields of application. So the most disruptive field of application so far, apart from within the industry, obviously, and in the manufacturing, has been medical and health and field robotics with the precision agriculture, or in the medical and health with rehabilitation. Smart cities are yet more into Internet of Things, but we believe robotics system should be put in place to make a machine-to-machine connection of all those connected objects, and equip them with actuators, actually. So a physical action that is much more than just sending me my information or closing my shutters or shutting off the light. We believe so bringing robotics into the Internet of Things world for smart cities, and improvement of environmental and well-being of people within cities, of communication, safety, maintenance, transportation, mobility is a big thing as well, is a plus. So smart cities, not yet there, but coming to robotics, and mainly through mobility. And for smart home, you kind of think it's like home automation again, but it's also those social robots like the Buddy from Blue Frogs that has made a lot of media recently with this great campaign, crowdfunding campaign, and soon to announce some other things. I believe social robots together with Internet of Things, together with home automation, all this will profoundly transform the way we live in our places and home and etc. And this, I think, is interesting. Education is part of smart home as well, and entertainment, of course. Right. And the last one, technologies and foresight, is just to say there's this convergence of several disruptive technologies coming at their tipping point all at once. And so we do believe we need to have this foresight vision of society as the way we want it, to make the best out of those disruptive technologies, because else we're just like, put them out there and see what the users will do with it. So we're capable of the best as the worst. We've seen that in the past. And so we need information first, So Innorobo is informative. That's why we're open to the general public on the Wednesday, 25th.
Right.
But also that people that truly know what robotics is capable of, where it's geared to, and etc., start to think of a vision of society, a vision of the ecosystem, of what those technologies are for. I discussed with Daniel Theobald, who is the CEO of Vecna, a great company for logistic robots, for instance,
Yep.
or hospitality robots or delivery.
Yep.
And he says, we have to figure out, do we want a robot to take care of my elderly mother while I work next to a robot in the industry? Or do I want the robot to take my job in that industry? Why not? Well, I know it's one of our fears, so I pinpoint on it on purpose. Take my job in the industry so that I have more time to spend with my beloved ones. And I think it's a fairly good question. So, actually robots is great because even the term robot, when you say it, triggers some fantasies.
Yeah.
And but it triggers as well questions of what is the real place of the human being in society? What are we here for? And I think we're here for to be happy and live and to be in social interaction, to discover the difference between people, the difference in culture, the difference in creativity, and etc. We're not necessarily here to, make repetitive or dangerous or tedious tasks every day so that we earn a living, right? We're here to live.
Yeah, no, this is it. I totally agree. I mean, I know Vecna Robotics myself. Like they deal with like the logistics solutions that basically go around sort of factories. So instead of someone getting up and walking down the same aisle again and again, back and forth, you basically have this little robot will go up and down the aisle for you, which basically leaves you more time to do the more important tasks and to do the more interesting work and get rid of like the repetitive work. So I understand.
I think the social responsibility of companies is actually to be active in that matter. When you replace potentially a worker by a robot, you should as well make this Schumpeter principle of creative destruction at work and create as well an innovation in service or in a new product design or something that makes that person have a new job. I honestly think it's important, and it's a responsibility of the different corporations and companies to try and make sure that this robotic transformation is accompanied by the creation of new jobs, new services, new things for the well-being of the people.
Well, this is it, and basically push like the generations forward and push the technology forward. So, like one thing I did when I was there to check the days. So, you were saying so obviously Innorobo's from the 24th to 26th of May. So the Wednesday is the public day, is that right? And then the other days are business day.
Wednesday is a public day, and the other days are the professional days. And so we're going to have great international presence as well. For the first time, a pavilion of Canada, for instance, with the sorry, I'm a bit sick. With the state of Ontario, we have Skolkovo cluster coming back from Russia. We have a Finnish delegation of people coming, of course, Korea. It's a year of Korea, guest of honor. Some Japanese and some Chinese, a bit more present this year, thanks to our presence to our partnership agreement with the Chinese Robotic Industry Alliance in Shanghai. And, lots of different nationalities as usual. So truly international show. Size won't be that bigger than last year, but truly with innovation, lots of startups again. We made our call for startups this year as in the past 6 years. And we had something like 88 answers from more than 30 different countries.
Wow.
And we pre-selected 44, and our jury is actually working on making the top 5 that's going to come to Innorobo. So we are fairly happy of some of innovation that we're going to see there. I can see robotics is evolving and Innorobo is evolving together with its ecosystem.
That's it, yeah.
The very first Innorobo was really prototypes made of wood or cardboard, or that was clumsy. You're right, that was really clumsy.
Yeah, no,
And the second one, the prototypes were a bit more advanced. Then the third year, we started having products that could be commercialized. We had, crowdfunding campaigns for the startups. We had some companies producing robots and manufacturing them and willing to sell them and make business with it. And this year, we do have the commercial robots, the ones that are already kind of done, finished, commercialized, able. They are improving. So you see lots of artificial intelligence improvement, vision, SLAM, navigation, grippers improvements. You see lots of finally accessories or what's within the robot being, improved. And but you see the same kind of body shape. The mechanical part, I think, is figured out for some of them.
Yeah.
And so that's what's inside, and how the robot is, clever. That is actually improving. So technology is actually a big part this year.
Yeah, and this is it. It's like you're saying, from the show you had last year, you had all the different booths obviously from China, from Russia, and everything else. And it's interesting to see how different cultures are building different types of robots. So that's what I found really, really interesting. Like when I was there last time, and as you were saying, and as the technology advances, you can see how depending on the country, there's different types of robots that are actually starting to come out. So that was something really, really impressive.
I think France, we really have something to say about professional service robots and home robots, if I can say so. Because we started finally being more into the Internet of Things. We have lots of great startups there, and we have this very good knowledge of artificial intelligence, of human-machine interactions and interface, and software. We're really good at software. So we tend to build, more the sort of for the home, for the assistance to the person type of robots, even if, we do have underwater robots that are really great, or logistic robots as well, and with BEA system, or even medical robots with MedTech. But we tend to have this flavor of willing the human-robot interactions to be really worked through. And in Russia, they recognize it themselves. They are into the more, design to be strong and robust type of robots. And in the US, they are into obviously professional service robots is a great thing. Medical robotics, they are the worldwide leader with intuitive surgical. But East Coast and West Coast are very different in their type of development of robots. And Asia, Japan is definitely geared towards industrial robotics, even if they do lots of humanoid robots that like Kokoro and things like that, but that are experiments in the research labs. What they really commercialize and are ready for is industrial robots. And Korea is much more into professional service robots as well. That's why we think there are links between Korea and France to make a connection. And in Germany, they're more industrial robot. Even within Europe, we have great differences. Field robotics, medical robotics. Medical robotics is more in Scandinavia. Field robotics, to be honest, I don't know. I need to check that.
Okay, the field robotics, so as in farming like robotics and stuff like that. So I remember speaking to one of your exhibitors last year, and they had a robot that would basically go across the field, and it would spot weeds in the actual field, and rather dig up the weeds or rather spray the weeds with some chemicals.
Yeah, so that's Nayo Technologies, right? They're doing great things. They are a little French startup that I think needs to be followed by investors. Well, we try to gather the ecosystem as well to understand that, let's invest now in those technologies because they can do real good for humanity. And as well, in any case, they will come. Those technologies will be integrated all over the place in our life. So now it's time for us to do it.
Start to invest. Well, this is it. I mean, you have films like it was the Interstellar film, and they, and most of the farming was done by robotics. So yeah, it makes sense for them. Right, so what I wanted to do, so that's a brilliant overview of Innorobo. I also got my notes that obviously you guys have got a new website called the Distributor.
The disruptory.
Sorry,
so it's a contraction of disruptions and laboratory or disruptions and factory.
Okay,
so
very nice.
The idea is every year, almost every day, I get phone calls or my team get phone calls saying, do you know a company that does this, that? Can you introduce me to this and that? We're an intermediation firm, in fact. And we thought, there's so much we can know, even if we know a lot about robotic companies. There's so much we can know, and there's so much that we can, answer directly in a timely fashion. So we decided to put up together a web platform that is collaborative, where we already pushed, let's say, something like 500 robotic companies we know about with some description, so a directory.
Yep.
We pushed news, so we try to do syndication of news and original news as well that we're writing ourselves. And the important news, or the one with a kind of publishing content that is always geared toward a human approach to robotic technologies. We think it's an important baseline. And then we're opening that platform for people to sort of declare themselves as, I'm a robotic company, look for robotic solutions to one of their problems, and they can even make, as an ecosystem, evolve themselves the taxonomy we put there. Currently, the taxonomy we've put is our, smart cities, smart home, and etc. type of, robotics category or robotic type. But we believe it's not enough, and it's not us to decide the taxonomy or the segmentation of general purpose technology like robotics. We think it's the task of the ecosystem itself, and according to what they will look for, the way they're going to search, we're going to make that taxonomy evolve so that they are more and more capable of finding the robotic solution that they suit them, and or the sort of a different robotic solution that they could have. So we're trying to make it global. Yep. And with our agreements, partnership agreements with the Japanese Association of Robot and Automation, the Korean one, the Chinese Shanghai one, and the Singaporean one, and of course the French and European membership of robotics community we have, where we hope to make it as global as possible. So it's a basic, putting that ecosystem in virtual interactions. Yep. When we do them physical once a year through Innorobo.
Yeah, well, this is it. I mean, it's giving everyone access to all the information really, and again, so if they want to find out something about a robot company, they can go and see it. If they want to learn a bit about a particular type of technology, they can go in there and see it. And again, it's all in one place. It's nice and easy to actually get in there and interact. So, funny enough, it's one of the with my tutorials actually. So I used to go around doing lots of robot tutorials to lots and lots of schools, but then obviously I can't be at every school. So it's one of the reasons why I've decided to post tutorials on my website. So it's all in one place. It's easy for everyone to access and get all the information. So yeah, what I'll do then, I'll put links below for that, so anyone sort of watching this can get access to it. So they can go and have a look.
And now it's collaborative. It's truly collaborative. It's since 2 days. 2 days ago, it started being collaborative. That is, before, you were claiming your company or saying, I want my company to be there. And there was that poor guy within my team that was putting the information, typing it. Yeah. And now what we do is we send a code and we give access to the back office, to that person, that company, once we've identified, and of course that it's a true employee and executive of that company. So it's that's it. It's collaborative, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, and and the whole way again, like as it links in with Innorobo and all the other pieces, it's nice to have the full circle of like solutions to actually get access to. So
Exactly.
okay, so one question I did have was just about sort of the business model and the economy side of Innorobo. So could you give us a quick sort of rundown of where it sits and how it's growing?
Right. So Innorobo, the first one costed about 300,000 euro to put through, right, to put together, and then the last one, 2015, about 850,000 euros. So it's grown about 20% per year. So we are balanced, just balanced. So we don't lose money, we don't win that much. We're happy to give that service. Actually, I can pay my employees. I can pay for some flying tickets and some booth layout for startups. And from that, I'm having the ecosystem happily gathering at Innorobo with no big financial problems. So we are like another event, and I'm sorry about that. We have some sponsorship, obviously, private and public. We have some exhibitors paying for their booths, hopefully. And we do have some visitors paying for their entrance or for the keynotes. And with that, we can put together a good show, invite the right experts, and make the right startup be there, whether they have money or they don't. And try to as well invite as many people as we can that can make the difference, because they will invest or they will trigger an order to a startup and etc. So we're fairly good, and we have a lot of travel expenses. We travel around the world to be at all everybody else show in robotics to meet our ecosystem more than once a year. But in different countries, in Korea, in Japan, in the United States, and soon I'm going to go to Russia as well to see Skolkovo cluster at art.
Okay, no, that sounds very interesting. I mean, this is it. I mean, I actually work with a few of like the exhibitors as well, and and shows like this are brilliant for them, because they actually get to meet the businesses and the corporations that they're looking to sell into, and then they can discuss like ideas with them, or maybe improvements, or maybe just get that networking. So this is why the show is brilliant. It's just to get that sort of business side.
Yeah, and they get the user requests, the user needs. So I remember one of the exhibitor last year, he says, "I don't understand what you do, Catherine, but it works." And he says, because I don't see most of the clients that I usually see, I don't see them that much, but I see lots of people asking me the same questions, and it gives me ideas of diversification, new segment or new application for my robot if I just change that little thing, and then it's a new market discovery. So I think we help established robotic companies find new ways, new application, or the way that they can cover better the needs of the industry or the service company. And we help hopefully startups getting their first grip on the market. So yes.
Well, this is it. And like I suppose especially when you're dealing with the bigger corporations that have sort of thousands of employees and thousands of processes, like when they see that something can work and you just need those tweaks, and those are the talks that the robot company and the corporations have to actually get something that they can use. So
and they want it at a sort of executive level, which they get at Innorobo, and it's amazing to see, like, that was the way Engie, which is a big energy firm in France, invested in partnering robotics. The first year partnering robotics was like the startup booth, and last year was like more like 36 square meters. So it's they give it back. They have this great benevolence with us, because we're benevolent with them. That they say, hey, come on, I met my investor at Innorobo, so I make him come the next year, right? Which I think is good.
Makes sense.
It's a great community. It's exciting.
Definitely, yeah. Well, this is it. I mean, this is the future, really. So this is the way that things are starting to go. So that's brilliant, Ashley. I mean, I think that's all the questions I've had that I have to ask. Obviously, we're all excited about Innorobo, so that's from May the 24th to May the 26th. I'll be down there as well. Just have a look at all of the exciting new technologies and speaking to all of the exhibitors down there. So yeah, that's perfect, Catherine. I mean, I want to thank you very much for your time today. It's very much appreciated.
No, thank you to you, and I look forward to welcoming you in person at Innorobo.
Brilliant.
Make you around. You'll see.
Cheers, Catherine. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Cool. Take care.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Okay. Bye.